Not even 3 months ago, I promised on the internet that I would stop complaining about my quote-unquote bad art and instead work on massively improving it. Today, for the first time, I'm going to prove to you what can be achieved if you just put in the work. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, and in one of my previous videos I've been talking about how to improve when you feel stuck with your art, and in today's video we'll be talking about how to actually notice the improvement of your drawing skills and also things that might hold you back. In that previous video I mentioned, among other aspects, how important it is to compare yourself only with yourself and not with other artists. There are different ways you can compare your older work with your most recent work, like keeping a sketchbook or portfolio and regularly review your older stuff. You can even take notes. What did you like about a piece back then? What do you still like? Is there something you liked at that time that you think could do better now? And things you don't like anymore but still don't know how to do better? This kind of self-critique can help you to pinpoint what exactly it is that bothers you the most and that you should tackle first for that reason. I'm doing the ultimate improvement test today, which is redrawing an old piece. It is an admittedly rather generic character design I came up with about 2.5 years ago. I did the line art on the first page of my sketchbook and decided to also draw it on the cover using paint pens. I can't really recall what it was I liked about this piece, but I vaguely remember being at least a little bit proud of it, for whatever reason. I even made a video of the process that I couldn't get myself to rewatch, and I also won't link it. If you want to make fun of that old embarrassing video of mine, you have to put in the effort and find it yourself. I won't support that. However, there are more potential pieces that I could have redrawn, but since this one was the oldest, I decided to start with it. I'll probably do more in the future since I really enjoyed and learned a lot from this exercise. I figured out all the things I dislike now and made the decision to tackle each of these things in my redrawing, which are a lack of details, a boring outfit that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, a stiff and boring pose that doesn't seem to have any energy at all, a messed up facial anatomy and proportions, a block of color instead of a background, which is okay for what it is, but I still want to work on it at least a tiny little bit in the new version. And last but not least, the flat colors, which I think are fine too, since I did it with paint pens on the cover of a sketchbook and had a hard time to get the colors opaque. During this redrawing, I realized quite a lot of things regarding my process and things I still struggle a lot with. But the most important realization I came to is what might be the number one mistake that really holds artists back. I think for me it is, and I bet the majority of you guys did this too at least once. Imagine the following scenario. Maybe you can relate to it. It's late, you're trying to sleep, but suddenly an idea comes to you, a spark of inspiration. You have a very clear picture in mind for a brilliant new art project. You're all excited and want to get started right away. You can't fall asleep, you can't stop thinking about it, and you get more and more ideas about more and more details you could include. But it's getting really late and you really need to sleep. But tomorrow you start working on it straight away. You take some notes to get it all out of your head, then you go back to bed. The next day you don't feel up to the task anymore. The inspiration is still there and you want to do it, but you're not ready yet. This is something for the future, something you really want to get back to when you're quote-unquote good enough. if you only knew when you'd be good enough. Does that sound familiar to you? I struggled with this a lot, and to be honest, I still do. I have that idea of a character I want to draw in the back of my head for more than a year, and guess how often I drew her yet? Not a single time, because I was convinced I couldn't do that yet. But this redrawing exercise showed me the most obvious thing. I'm not limited to that one single try to draw a thing. I can gather references and work on the general character design, and then I try the absolute best I can to draw that character. And maybe I like it, maybe I don't, but whatever way it turns out, I can always revisit, review, and redraw what I did. And to be completely honest, it's actually great to work out the idea, even if it doesn't result in a masterpiece yet. Try to look at it like this. You're doing all the preparation work for your future self. So when you feel ready to seriously do it, you don't have to put in so much brain power anymore. It can be very painful to resist the urge of drawing a specific thing just because you're intimidated by it. I don't understand why we are doing this to ourselves, but we have absolutely nothing to lose just by trying it, do we? No matter how you look at it, there is simply no logical reason to postpone it to the future when we really want to do it now. Well, unless it's in the middle of the night and you need to get some sleep. But if it's what we really feel like doing, isn't it worth a try? The possibility that it won't turn out that bad is still there. I oftentimes surprise myself when I'm drawing something I don't really feel ready for. Inktober prompts really pushed me to try things I would have never drawn otherwise. And yes, some of them didn't turn out well, but there are also some I felt very proud of. So if you have some idea you really want to execute but postpone all the time because you don't feel ready yet, at least start with it and see where it will take you. Maybe it will be better than you expected, and if not, you can do a redrawing like I'm doing now and work on the mistakes you made in your first drawing. Always keep in mind that there's really nothing to lose just by trying. You probably noticed that I really struggled with coloring and shading of the skin, and I'm still not satisfied with the way I'm drawing hair either, but it's okay that this new version of that character has its flaws too, so there's still room to improve, and maybe I'm going to draw her again in a year or two. It's really the most direct way to see improvement, in my opinion, since you're able to compare not only your old art to your recent art, you can compare the old way you drew a thing to your recent way of drawing the exact same thing, if that makes sense. I know now what I want to improve on next. I want to get better at drawing hair, practice the facial anatomy a bit more, and I'm also excited to get into color and light theory. There is a lot more I want to dress, but I'm trying to take it one step at a time to avoid getting overwhelmed and frustrated. I'm really proud of how this character turned out in the end, even though there's still room for improvement. And if you're seeing something that feels off to you, critique is very welcome as long as it's constructive and kind. At the moment I finished this piece, I experienced that magical "I can't believe I drew this" moment, which simply is the best feeling ever. If you know that feeling too, or another way to find out if and how much you improve over time, let me know in the comments down below. Also, feedback for this style of video is welcome too. I didn't make a lot of digital art videos yet, and it's a completely different process, so any tips are appreciated. I hope you found this video helpful, motivating, or inspiring. If you enjoyed it for whatever reason, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more art content. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and have a wonderful rest of your day.